Hey everybody, welcome back to C.Dat.Guy Review Movies. My name is Christian, and I know I'm late on this, but Happy New Year everyone. The nightmare that is 2020 is finally over, but that doesn't mean that everything is back to normal. I just hope that everyone can be smart about lockdown and protocols and whatnot, but of course all I can do is wait and hope. So until then, here's another edition of Quarantine Watch. Also, hope you had a great Christmas. For the last couple of Christmases, I've actually been going to the theater now. So in 2018, I watched Aquaman, which I thought was pretty good. And then last year, I did a double feature of Ip Man 4, which I thought was okay, and Uncut Gems, which, though it was good, was definitely not the movie that will lift your spirits up on Christmas Day. This time, obviously, I didn't go to a movie theater, mostly because I didn't think there was going to be a new movie for me to watch. And technically, this is true because even though this movie came out on Christmas Day, I didn't watch it until a couple days later. And this was supposed to be released during the summer, but after watching this, I was kind of glad that it was released towards the end of the year. So for today, I'll be reviewing Soul. I'm sure many of you have seen this movie already, but for the ones who haven't, the story goes like this. It's about a middle school music teacher named Joe who hopes for a career in jazz. He gets a shot when a friend tells him that there's an opening in the jazz band of Dorothea Williams. After a successful piano audition, he is given a chance to perform with the group later that night. As he's happily parading around the streets while talking on the cell phone, he accidentally falls down a manhole. This is by far one of the least violent ways that Disney or Pixar has ever portrayed someone dying on screen. We then see him in his little seafoam green soul form on an escalator going to what is told to us as the Great Beyond. Desperate to get back to his gig, he tries escaping the Great Beyond, but ends up falling further into the Great Before, or the You Seminar, where all the unborn souls exist and get their personalities. The Soul Counselors, or the Jerrys, mistake Joe for an instructor and pair him with a sarcastic and pessimistic soul named 22. After she tells Joe that in order for her to go to Earth, she needs a spark to complete her badge, they agree to help each other out so that Joe can return to Earth using 22's badge. Joe Gardner is played by Jamie Foxx, who I believe is fantastic in the role. He had great comedic timing and really gave Joe a voice and character that we could really get behind because of his passion in jazz. I had a feeling that they kind of chose Jamie Foxx for this role because he kind of played this already when he was Ray Charles in Ray, which he did win the Oscar for, which meant he had the music chops as well as the acting chops. As much as I like Joe, it's 22 who stole the show for me. It's probably because she's voiced by Tina Fey, who I've absolutely loved since Mean Girls. It's her cynical personality that brought an interesting mix of someone who is funny, but also shows growth as she tries to find her reason to live. And I like the chemistry between these two characters because you can tell that they're really bouncing off each other, and they also had a handful of pretty heartfelt moments. This was one of the few years where Pixar released 2 movies in one year, and honestly, Onward felt like such a long time ago. And though the movie wasn't bad, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I haven't even watched it again. I was ecstatic and relieved when Soul pulled through. Pixar just gets better and better with their animation. For this one, it's like they took Inside Out and then they kicked it up a notch. And after realizing it was the same director, I wasn't surprised. This was noticeable for me already in the beginning with just the way of how the keys on the saxophone are moving, as well as how Joe gets into the Great Beyond during that falling sequence. I loved how creative they were with the design of the Great Before, the Jerrys, all the animated sequences of how people can get into the zone, and also how realistic New York looked at the end of the movie. I love a movie that features jazz because as a band geek who played that kind of music in high school, I think it's a music genre that kind of gets tossed aside and doesn't get the love it deserves. Seeing Joe with his piano playing, how he gets into the zone, is kind of reminiscent of all the jazz performances I've watched online and in person. So it was nice for me to be in that world again. Also, I like the score that they used for the Great Beyond scenes because it gave the movie a surreal feeling, but also a sense of wonder. And when I looked at the credits, it turns out that it was Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross who did it, and I thought that was awesome, and it made sense because they kind of gave that same feeling when I watched The Social Network, and I thought that score was amazing as well. The story was just so captivating and unexpectedly deep. It actually made me think about the things I was doing in my life, but with a less judgmental tone and a more positive attitude. I also thought that the movie brushed on the topic of mental health a little bit when they were showing how people became lost souls, and then also how negative comments that were constantly thrown at 22 really affected her. It's a good reminder of how we should check up on each other once in a while and lift each other up instead of tearing each other down. And as the movie suggests, we should be able to celebrate the things that we like, no matter how small it is. I don't really clamor for representation much, but I enjoyed the diversity of the film. We had a dominant black cast with a couple of Asians and Hispanics thrown in the mix, so I thought that was a good step forward for Disney. Also, I was glad it didn't go in the way of The Princess and the Frog or Spies in Disguise, where the non white lead is transformed into something else for a majority of the film. I thought it was going to be that way from how the trailer looked, but it was nice to see Joe's human form for a longer period of time. I'm so glad that this was the last movie I saw in 2020 because this was an excellent way to end a crappy year and a hopeful way to reevaluate ourselves for a better 2021. I kept on laughing at the constant cutaway scenes while being emotionally invested and fulfilled. The passion is real and relatable. The story and the themes are so complex, but are also executed in a way that is palatable for all ages. Also, shout out to the Asian trombone player because that was me in middle school, except with less talent. This could possibly be the best film of 2020 in my opinion, so for all those reasons, I'm giving this movie a 10 out of 10. Alright, so there's my review of Soul. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comment section down below, and go ahead and give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down, I really don't care. But if you want to see more movie reviews from this guy, go ahead and click the subscribe button right up here. Or if you want to see my review for Onward, you can click the video right over here. Other than that, I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye, and stay safe out there.